Wow, what's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to a brand new edition of the Listen Doctor Radio. I am your host of the show, the Listen Doctor. What's good? We got a brand new show today. We gotta talk about. We're gonna be talking about prison reform and really going on inside these jails right now with these inmates. Because a lot of people wanted me to talk about this story. That these guards are being basically hard asses on these inmates. A lot of things happen, but I have a special guest inside the studio today, and he is also a correctional officer inside of a local jail where I live at, and he's going to be giving his aspects on what really happens inside the jail from CO. We really don't have that a lot. We really don't have a lot of people as COs come and talk to us about what's really going on. We have the side of the inmates telling us what's really going on, and we're going to get a real side of what's really going on. I would like to welcome my co-host to the show, special guest, Sticky. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get to that, first, we got a couple of news to get to, a little bit of news to get to. Y'all know I do that before I get to anything that we talk about, my little monologue, my little rant. And we're going to get to that as well. So let's go straight to that. The news I have for today, we just talked last week before the Christmas break and for the holiday break about these robberies that's going on. It's fitting that we are talking about this because this is what's happening with these young youths. In my city of New Orleans, Louisiana, 3 boys, I said it right, 3 boys were arrested on charges of robbery and armed robbery on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. And the ages of these young boys are 10, 11, and 15. All little kids on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And I have a correctional officer who was here, and if they were locked up down here in the main jail, he would have probably been over them, or working with them. And a lot of people wanted to know my opinion on it, and I got a correctional officer here. We're going to figure out that. We're going to talk about the Saints game as well. That shit was just terrible. We're going to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles game that just went off as well. And we're going to give our predictions who might win the Super Bowl and all that shit as well. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let my co-host speak first on the matter, on the fact that these kids were arrested on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. How you feel about that?
Basically, I'm here not to throw anybody under the bus, not to disparage anyone, and not to point fingers, but I definitely think that there needs to be a lot of changes on how we look at how we hiring, how you step into this jail, how you step into these jobs, and dealing with the people that's basically locked up inside these jobs, because it's a lot of things that can be improved. It's a lot of things that can be worked out with the right with time.
Right.
It's been ignored. I see people running for offices and running for
Right.
everything around here, and nobody's talking about making this right. Nobody's talking about making this better.
Right.
And there's a lot of ways that we can do this if we just tried a little harder.
I feel that so much because, like I said, man, in Texas, I don't know if you're familiar with the Texas law, but in Texas, they don't play. In Texas, my brother's right now serving 20 years off of he's doing 20 years off of a armed robbery charge. He had like 20 armed robberies, aggravated robbery charges. They wanted to give him 100 years, but he settled for 20. Each one counting for 20 years. And the reason why it's important in this topic because these young boys were 10, 12, and 15 robbing on Christmas Day. Mostly on that day is spent with your kids and your family at home, open up gifts. But these kids went out and robbed on that day. So my thing is, where was the parents involved? Because in Texas, like I said, the law, I don't think, some people say it's unfair and I'm kind of leaning towards what they say. But then I think, and again, I say it is fair. The first time your child at the young of age of 18, if your child is being arrested the first time, it's a fine. The second time, it's a bigger fine. The third time, they come and pick up the parent. Most people say that's kind of insane, because you can teach your kid and be the best parent, and your kid can still go out there and do these things. But I feel like this: if a parent is mostly involved with their kid and the father's there, keyword father, that these kids will have a better opportunity and won't be out there doing it. Because if you start hitting the parents with the pockets, because that parent got to take off for work to come get you. I know when my mama came and got me from school after work and had to leave work, it was an ass whooping. But then again, I see the other side of that, because now your kid can go to school with a bruise and they can say my mama beat me, and then you got a case on you. So how does a parent supposed to deal with these children before they get to be men, when they see you? How they supposed to do that if the state and the government are basically not giving the parents what they need to do?
I think basically I'm seeing from these kids it's a lack of structure, starting from the school and home life all the way down. And these kids are younger and younger, and they're more reckless than ever before, and it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And when I've dealt with these kids and I've dealt with these young people, I see the potential they have, but
Mm-hmm.
it's something that was missing. Whether it was from school or whether it was from home life, it's definitely somebody is not guiding these kids and getting them in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now they're lost. There's a lot of kids that's lost, and it's very scary to deal with a kid that's lost and has nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
It's a terrible thing, and you can't control it. And I mean, these kids talk about just blowing each other's heads off and shooting at each other. And once we get them inside,
Mm-hmm.
and once we get them into that controlled setting, you are dealing with other men.
Right.
Okay, you are dealing with these grown ass men that's got their own problems,
Right.
and their own shit to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's a problem in and of itself, because once you get the young kids there, we can do all we can do to isolate you and protect you. But when worse comes to worse, you still around grown ass men in there.
Right.
And we can't save everybody. You know, I mean, it's a pretty sad situation of what you see, and these young kids just throwing it all away. And it's definitely, I don't know what's going on in the schools. Mm-hmm. I don't know if people just don't care anymore. Mm-hmm. And I could blame some of the parents, but I mean, sometimes even the parents, even I know some of these kids have parents that's in jail,
Right.
and they can't do nothing. And they can't do nothing for these kids.
You know what's funny what you're saying with that? I had basically watched the show. I told you guys about it, that I was considering doing 60 Days In, the show. And I watched the show on a couple of seasons ago, like third season, and they had a guy in Atlanta jail basically said that him and his brother was both in that jail together at the same time. They were there together, and his brother was in the other hall, and he was in the other hall, and his daddy was there when he was born. His mama actually had him in that same jail. So that's 4 generations of people in the same jail. Mommy and daddy, and then the 2 sons are in the same jail. It's like they thought they were destined for it. In the black community, a lot of people don't realize, like, I speak on my black people because I really love my black people, and I speak hard on y'all because I know the shit that we can do. And I know what we have up here, that if we put our minds to it, we can accomplish a lot of shit. So I'm very hard on y'all. But I cannot say, yeah, my living environment didn't lead me to a wrong path. Granted, my foster family who adopted me taught me more things and got me out of that environment. But if not, I would have probably been the same. I'd probably be locked up too. My brother, he didn't have that choice. He didn't get adopted by white people. I mean, by white people, not white but good people. He didn't get adopted by those people. He got adopted by some people who didn't give a fuck about him. And he wound up back on the streets. Once he made 18, they put him out. When I made 18, my mama said, you ain't have to go nowhere. You can save your money. You can go to college, whatever you want to do. But you got to do a job or you got to go to college. You can't stay in my house for free. And that gave me, but I've been working since I was 14 with my uncle. That gave me the mentality and the work ethic to say, you know what, I want to go ahead and do things. But these kids of the day, man, they lost. And a lot of it is to do with the environment and the parents. Anything else you want to elaborate on this particular subject when it comes to these young kids? 3 kids that were out there, man. And I misspoke. I'm sorry. 11, 10, and 12 was the ages, not 15. And we had talked about this subject, and the reason I brought this up again, we talked about this subject about 2 months ago. These same 3 young individuals were granted a chance to go home. And the judge said she didn't feel comfortable locking a 10 and 11-year-old up with teenagers. She let them out. And they promised that they was not going to get in no more trouble. And guess what happened? 2 months out of being out of correction, Department of Correction, of juvenile, they were back on the streets doing it again. For what? For what? For some money that they really don't really know what the fuck they doing with. They got a gun at 10 years old. Like, it's really sad. What do you think about that?
But basically, nobody. It's because I don't know if anybody's showing these kids any love. It's like really no one cares these days. It's like no one cares. It's just like so much is happening, and it's all on the news, and we're so saturated with news. It's not a shock.
Mm-hmm.
A long time ago, it used to be a shock. It'd be like, man, why? You know, this was a whole community. You know, it would be outraged, but now it's just like, oh, it's just another thing that's happened. Some more people that's just going down the drain.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's just people that's just not basically caring about these kids. There really are a lack of facilities to accommodate these young kids around here. And like I say, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus. I'm not pointing the blame at nobody. But there's a lack of funding. There's a lack of facilities here. I see a bunch of bingo halls. I see a bunch of old folks homes. I see animal shelters and animal hospitals. That's for everything. Okay, so I'm like wondering, you know, why don't we have something to accommodate this thing, so we can get this thing, you know, to get a hold of it, because it's out of control. That's what I'm looking for. That's basically what I'm looking for. It's like somebody's got to get their hands on this thing.
Right.
And you know, we got all these plants, we got all this cancer in the air. You know, we got all this floating and this and that, blah blah blah. That's all fine and dandy, but somebody's got to get a hold of this.
Right.
Or
Most definitely
a problem. Most
definitely. Switching topics, we're gonna be on the same topic back with this though. A lot of people want to get my insight on what happened with R. Kelly. The documentary of part 2 of Surviving R. Kelly was dropped 2 days ago, and that shit was insane. On that particular show, R. Kelly brother said he was offered $50K to say to take the fall and say he was the person in the sex scandal video peeing on R. Kelly. I mean, peeing on the young women as R. Kelly. They wanted to pay him $50 grand to do that. And he said that R. Kelly basically told him he was going to get him a record deal and he was going to do all this to do it. Now, in this particular topic, the reason I brought that up because Oprah Winfrey has been on numerous of videos and has been out there. And this is my next thing I want to talk about, the Me Too movement. We're going to tackle everything, everybody. We're going to tackle everything. The Me Too movement. And the reason why I want to bring this up because I have another fellow black man here. As a black man, how do you feel with Oprah Winfrey, a black woman, making documentaries about these black celebrities, where she has a friend of hers, Howard Weinstein, who's actually a white man, and he has been on tape of being raping over 90 women and over having sexual relationships unconsent with over 150 women. She has not made a tape. She has not made a documentary, but she's made a documentary about Russell Simmons. She made a documentary about him, about women saying that he had raped her and all this type of shit. She made one about R. Kelly. She made one about Bill Cosby. And she made one about the late, great Michael Jackson. How do you feel that Oprah Winfrey is basically helping the system tear down these black men?
Well, basically, I've never been really a fan of Oprah. Mm-hmm. I'm not against her. You know, hey, she made all this money, blah, blah, blah. But mm-hmm. I think from square one, I think it just what we talked about, we have a lack of respect. Mm-hmm. Okay, and somebody pissed on another human being for sexual purposes or not. Mm-hmm. And he ain't the only one he didn't invent it.
Right.
He didn't go about it. You know, he went about doing whatever he did. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Oprah's so far out of touch with me. Right. I'm not a fan. We don't respect each other. It's a lack of respect for women mm-hmm. in general that's been in the industry forever.
Right.
Okay? They could shine a light on R. Kelly. They shine a light on Bill Cosby. They could shine a light on a whole hell of a lot of people.
Right.
That's been going on. That's been going on for decades and decades now.
Right.
It's a lack of respect. And I mean, this R. Kelly thing is getting out of control. It's getting out of hand. You know what I'm saying? People are you know, it's cashing in now. You know what I'm saying? Clicks and views and all of this nonsense.
Right.
It's a lack of respect. Okay, you don't go around pissing on people. I'm not a. You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
For sexual purposes, I don't know. I know a lot of white folks have been doing that shit.
Yeah.
I could say they invented it. Yeah. I won't piss nobody off, but I mean, he didn't come up with it.
He's not the first person to do it. He's actually not. And they have a lot of people who actually have done this numerous of times, and they have not even said anything about it. And on top of that, the factor that these so-called black men that she's coming after, she was taking pictures with. She was taking pictures with. She was seeing. She called Michael Jackson one of her best friends. And when this man is dead, he cannot defend himself. She's making documentaries about this man, saying that the kids, even the name was just so fucking fucked up. Surviving Neverland. Mm. Like, Neverland was just a fucking fucked up place.
Right.
And it wasn't. But nobody talks about, like R. Kelly said, that he was raped at a young age by his sister and cousins. Nobody talks about when, that's why I love that he's here, nobody talks that these millions and millions of black men are raped in jail. We laugh about it. We laugh about it in talks, that these black men are being raped in jail. But when a woman gets touched in a women's jail, everybody gotta stop. All hell breaks loose. But when it comes to men, a man could get beat up by a woman in front of other men and other men would laugh. But if a man hit a woman, everybody, no, don't put your hand on her. She a woman. She a female, man. You don't put your hand on her. Huh?
It's a lack of respect.
Like, that's the lack of this respect that they have for black men. For men, period. Because I feel like men, we are on a low podium, like right here. We are very low, and women are way up here. So it's like a woman can't do nothing wrong. My mom always told me, my Dr. Mom, she was always made me very conscious of women and respectable women. But my mom always told me, if you walk away and she put her hands on you again, she deserves what she get. I'm sorry, because as a woman, you know you cannot beat a man. You know that. If a man is walking away, the man is saying, let me go, just let me go, let me get myself together. And you're a bitch. Get in front of him. I had a girl get in front of me. And actually, after I'm walking out the door, wouldn't even let me leave out the door, y'all. Wouldn't even let me leave out the door because she wanted to continue that argument. I slept on the sofa. She woke me up with hot water. Because I slept on the sofa. Because I didn't want to argue. And I had to leave her. But that's the lack of disrespect that they have for black men. Going into these games right quick. Let's talk about these games and then we're going to get into more topics about the jail and the aspect of jail. The first game on the docket we had was Tennessee. First couple of games we had on the docket was the Buffalo Bills and Texas yesterday. I know I didn't do a show on that yesterday. But Texas won the game, beating the Bills 19-22. Tennessee, and the big game of the week was Patriots. For the first time in a long time, the Patriots are not in the championship game. That is insane.
End of the dynasty. End of the dynasty.
End of the dynasty, a lot of people believe.
Or as we know it.
As we know it. A lot of people believe that. And that's crazy that this man has been in championships for the last 10 years. He's not in there, man.
Man, this nigga need to go play with his kids, man.
Right. Like, he got
a beautiful ass wife, man. Get that shit up, man.
Man.
How many Super Bowls you gotta win before you gotta... Hey, man, you like the fucking greatest of all time. Come on now. You're like the greatest.
He needs to do this now before he wind up not being able to do it like Brad Favre at the end of his career. He was so fucked up he couldn't do anything no more. He got his kids growing up, man. You need to enjoy your loins and just go. Come on, man. Just
let it go, Tom Brady.
Huh?
Let this shit go.
For real. I feel the same way about this other character that we about to talk about tonight. We had a game with the Vikings and the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah. Tragedy. But you must know, this is what being a Saint fan has been like forever and ever. Okay? And I'm like I said, I'm an older person, and I seen these people catch heart attacks in the dome. All right, and we wasn't winning 13 games a year. Okay, the times have been so good, and I think people have become so accustomed to this. But like as the old saying goes, at the end of the day, this is what it's like to be a Saints fan. I think people is just getting that taste of it. I'm sorry. It's unfortunate that it's got to come down to these refs and all this controversy, and it's unfortunate. I really feel for all Saints fans and the people of New Orleans and the people everywhere, because the Saints are supported everywhere by so many people. It's a bitter way to end it. I just wish Drew Brees. I wish him all the best, but I don't know how long I don't know what's going to happen. Hey, they won 13 games. It's a 13-win team.
Right.
Lord have mercy. It's painful. And I just feel, please don't nobody go jump off no bridge, go kick their dog, beat their wife, none of this bullshit. Throw the fucking TV down, break the damn flat screen, all this YouTube shit that's people doing, jumping over jumping over all fucking tables and shit.
Right.
That's double for me. This was like something that I was holding on to for hope. I have no hope now except just to carry on. So
speaking of that, losing a lot of money. But before we get to that, in this game, man, I'm not like every other Saints fan. I love the Saints. The Saints has been my team since I can remember. I have 3 favorite teams. Y'all all know who they are, but for this video, I would say who they are. My favorite 3 teams: Saints, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Even though I know I shouldn't because that's a rivalry, but I love Buccaneers. And my other favorite team is the Green Bay Packers. The reason why I'm a Green Bay Packer fan, short, I am originally from Boston. My grandpa played for Green Bay a long time ago before I was born. That's why, and I'm originally from Boston. The reason I'm a Tampa Bay fan is the reason why I love football, because the reason I started playing football is because of Warren Sapp. He came to my school when I was a kid and got me inspired to play football. that was the reason why I fell in love with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and then the Saints home team. You know, I've been in New Orleans since I was 6 years old. So, but I always go back to Boston. So I gotta stay with two of my home teams. That's why I love those teams. But in this game, man, the game was an awesome game. I'm pissed off that Teddy did not get a chance to play. I'm pissed off that Taysom Hill run was for nothing, my dog. Taysom Hill is one of the best quarterbacks the Saints have had, and they use this man on every fucking way. He's everywhere on the fucking field. Everywhere. And he did not let that man shine at the end. Drew Brees, bro. I'm sorry, but your time is up, my nigga. Let these young kids do what they do, bro. Come on, Brees, bro. You could at least say, Sean, man, let Taysom Hill. He just passed 50 yards. This man threw 50 fucking yards. Then ran for 50 yards. It's not the pocket quarterback no more. That's not what it is no more. It's the world of running. And if you're not fast, you're not going to make it in this league anymore. So, man, I just think that it was a wasted performance that the Saints could have not had do anything. Diggs, they top receiver. Diggs only got 2 fucking touches in this game. 2 touches. That's insane.
He cried enough.
He was on the sideline like, bitch, if I don't get the ball, I'm telling you, that nigga was.
Yeah, he cried enough.
He was funny as shit, bro.
Yeah, but I just want to say thank you, Drew Brees, for all the smiles and all the records and all the good things, man. I mean, you know, it's so much, you know, it hurts, it's terrible. But it's so many good things, and I think these quarterbacks, man, they hang on and they hang on.
Right.
I want to know what was wrong with his hand. Maybe his hand was all messed up. I'm not sure. I just want to know, man. It's Brady is just don't want to quit. Breeze don't want to quit. They trying to break the fucking records. He trying to break the fucking records. Man, I mean, come on now. Y'all got to fucking, come on now.
You know what it was? My uncle called me. My uncle said Breeze's hand never really healed. Really completely. And I know my uncle noticed for the fact because my uncle goes to every practices. He used to work in the Superdome and he's a lifetime he got a Hall of Fame. He got inducted to the Saints Hall of Fame because he worked there for so long. This man has a championship ring at his house from the Saints because they won the same year he worked there. He retired the next year. So he goes to every practices. He goes to every fucking game. He got season tickets. He knows. He tells me. He sits right there by the quarterback bench at the practices in Metairie. And he said Drew Brees has not really healed. And I really feel like he rushed to get out there. And I feel like he was looking like, damn, Teddy doing good. Teddy gonna take my spot. I gotta get back out there. And everybody, man, I just want to say it right now as a Saints fan, if y'all don't give Teddy Bridgewater a fucking another contract, something is wrong with y'all. There's no other fucking quarterback right now up for grabs. Don't let this man leave, bro. And the way y'all fucked with him, I wouldn't stay if I was him. I would stay for some money. Him and Taysom Hill, they bust their ass for this team, bro. They really did. This man was running, tackling, blocking. He's a quarterback. Passing, receiving. This man was all over the fucking field, man. They need to give this man his money. How you feel about that?
Listen, I just want to say, Andrews Pete, you need to find something else to do.
Right.
And I know you a big ass motherfucker, and you probably could kill me right now. But I mean, and Teddy, he's come back from like his leg almost falling the fuck off.
Right.
So that in itself is a miracle for him to be making $7 million. And you know, I definitely think it was a great choice he made by not going to the Dolphins and coming here and revitalizing his career. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think it's gonna be a tough choice because you also got to keep you also want to keep Taysom Hill. You want to keep him. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if enough money is there to where you have to pay them both. But wherever Teddy goes, I wish him the best, and I wish the best of luck to him because he's a great individual, a great man.
Most definitely. So most definitely. Like I said, man, congratulations to the Saints for getting this far. Like we always say, better like next year.
Yeah, it's always next year.
I'm pissed off personally because this season to me went by so fast. I don't like nothing but sports. I love basketball, but I don't really like it like that. I like when football go off TV, I'll be like, man, it's nothing to watch on TV no more.
So you're not with the Pelicans?
Like, really, like, I mean, I'm not a Pelicans fan per se. I'm a Boston Celtics fan.
Okay.
I don't really fuck with the Pelicans. They alright, but I don't really fuck with them like that.
Celtics won like the title like 55 freaking times. Shit.
I know. And we try to get another one this year. Come on, man. Let's go, y'all. We need to get it. They won last night. Anyone us the other day. Let's talk about this jail, man. I got some numbers. Some people sent me some numbers. In Louisiana jails, we have approximately 64 parishes around the area of Louisiana. And we have about 132 jails, including adult detentions facilities, including minor facilities. And we have approximately 30,900 inmates in those facilities around the United States. I mean, around Louisiana. And I didn't know this, but Angola is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, prison jails in the world. I didn't even know that. But I wanted to ask you, why do you think we have so many inmates in these jails? And what can we do to correct the behavior? Because when I looked at 90 Days In, and I looked and I started seeing one of the participants asked, maybe if you start giving these people in your jail better things to do, you take their break time away from them when somebody acts up, and then you wonder why they act up. And they want to riot. You take their rec time away. You keep them in a pods for such amount of time, and they want to get like an hour outside or whatever. That builds your head up because you feel like I'm not gonna even never get out this bitch. And then it should be like I tell my brother. It should be things that you should do locked up to keep your mind out of stuff. You know, get them some trades, man. Let them learn how to do certain things. Get their GED. A lot of people in the jail in Atlanta didn't even know that that jail offered GED. So you gotta be able to tell your inmates and teach your inmates what they can do locked up, because an idle mind is a fucked up thing to have. And if they all they do is walk around each other all day, that's a lot of men around each other. People that don't like each other, they met on the street and they got in trouble and they in the same pod. It's just a bad place. How do you feel? What do you feel like the jails can do to correct the behavior so men won't keep going back?
Well, basically, I just want to clarify. There is a difference between the parish jail, the pretrial jail, and the correctional facilities. Mm-hmm. So it's a difference, but at the end of the day, what's being established is that, you know, it's a business, mm-hmm. and there's money involved. Mm-hmm. You understand? The money from the phones to the commissary, mm-hmm. you know, for, you know, people, you know, bringing money in and this and that. It's being treated as a business, mm-hmm. okay? And I've tried to tell these guys, man, listen, it's making money off you guys, but it's a lot of I don't even know how to pronounce it. Recidivism or whatever that word is, meaning people keep coming back over and over.
Revolving door.
It's just a revolving door, you know, and I just think that there needs to be, you know, more to help the COs for safety wise and the inmates in there, mm-hmm. because I know a lot of people might say, well, you know what, I don't give a fuck about these people because hey, committing crimes and blah 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 and rapists and all this other crap. And I understand that. I understand the anger. But when me working there, with these guys, I cannot play God. Because only God is gonna be the ultimate judge of what happens in the end. I provide care, custody, and control. And and it's hard to give order to people that have no structure, that hasn't been around or gotten structure.
Right.
So the problem is, I think when people get hired on, I think some people coming in not knowing what to expect. Okay, far as some COs, is not knowing what to expect when you step into that jail. Because once you step in between that wall, I mean, hey, you gotta know what you're doing.
Right.
And you gotta know how to deal with people. Because those inmates will read you. Okay? They'll read you. And if you fake, and you can't change what you do. You gotta stand on what you're doing. If you fake, they're gonna call you out as being fake. You know what I'm saying? If they know that you actually care,
right, then
you have a chance to have some order. And my style, hey, I'm not what you call a hard ass. I'm not gonna go out and try to hate nobody or try to make people's lives miserable. I just try to, as long as these guys know that you provide and care for them, and that you actually are trying to help them, that's your whole battle won right there.
Right.
And you're going to have days where you're going to have these big niggas that's going to come in there, and I don't want to use the word nigga, I apologize, but you're going to have these big motherfuckers that's coming in there, and they're going to be like, damn, this is going to be a hard day, because if he gets to going, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
But it needs to be more, more. I don't know, what can I say? It needs to be more attention brought to it. Because I see people getting thrown in. I see people getting thrown in isolation, basically I won't say a cage,
right?
But because it's go piss a lot of people off. But basically, when you lock a man up with no help, you gonna turn him into an animal.
Right.
And I'm agree with what you're saying. There's a lot more that needs to be done while we got them there. Okay. Education, just small things, because these guys is lacking that. And just what you said, you can take away, the outside, and that outside time means a lot.
Right.
I mean, it just means a whole lot to where if you can get a man out there, out in the air, and we can just do our jobs and let them go outside for a little bit, it means a lot. Okay? It means a lot.
Like my brother called home. I was my brother that called several times while we doing the show, and he's locked up right now. But I have to ignore his calls because we're live. But he's locked up, and he had us call the jail in Texas. In jail in Texas, I don't know how it is. I'm gonna ask you about that. But out there in Texas, they don't get paid. I know when my uncle was locked up in Angola, he was working in the cafeteria in the child hall. He was getting like 10, 15 cents per hour or whatever. It wasn't shit. But when he got out of jail, he had a little bit of money left up or whatever, and that went towards his restitution fees to pay and shit, and he went towards some other shit. And he had a little bit of money because he was locked up for like 10 years. He had a little bit of money once he got out to start his life over. Out there, they don't get paid nothing. And my brother was like, man, they not even letting me, I'm a trustee, but because my trustee inmate had weed on him when he had a visit, they put me and my trustee, the other trustee that I work with, into SED. And I was like, damn, why they put you in solitary? And I was like, man, because they found weed in my cell or whatever. And I told her it wasn't mine. And the guy worked out a deal with the guard. And the other dude worked out a deal with the guard and said it was my brother's. And he wound up back in the cell as a trustee. So we had to call, and we send letters and shit. And they finally put my brother back in trustee place, in the trustee thing, and put the other guy back over there. But now they fucking with my brother now. Like they not sending like the mail that we sent him. We sent them book cards for Christmas. He didn't get them. So now we have to go up there and figure out what's going on with that because they saying that the shit was lost and all this. It's like a lot of shit going on. When he gets calls, he'll get on the phone, be on it for like 5 minutes, and they'll say count time. And then he'll get off the phone and he'll be like, what happened? Y'all had to count? No, we ain't had no damn count time. They made me get off the phone for no reason. Like, they fucking with him. And they know it's like 5 minutes before the phones go off. So it's like, man, it's kind of crazy. Why do you think some of these jails, COs have a hard time with the inmates? And is it anything that a guard can do to handle himself better so it won't be any tension towards the inmate and the guard?
Well, for what I know, it's really not hard to. It's a hard training that you go to. It is a school that you go to for a couple of weeks.
Right.
You know, that'll teach you the basics of working in any facility.
Right.
But basically, you know, it's all up to the individual. Mm-hmm. It's what you have in your heart, what you have in your mind. That's what's going to get you through everything.
Right.
Now, if you know, you got some people that's just as fucked up, mm-hmm. that's working in a lot of these places as the people that's locked up. Mm-hmm. Okay? And I'm going to say, some people really don't give a fuck. And that's working.
Right.
Some people, you know, they go on the job and they don't care. Or they might say, you know what, fuck these people, mm-hmm. blah, 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 and this and that. That leads to a whole bunch of problems. That's right. Why you always read about, you know, drugs getting in, or like this CO bought so much drugs in, or had sex with the inmates, or you know, it's a lot of bad things. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of that, not to cut you off. Yeah. Speaking of that, I'm gonna let you go back to your topic, to that point. Speaking of that, they had I don't know if y'all know about one of the leaders of the Black Mafia family. It's just funny that he said that. The Black Mafia family, I can't think of his name right now, but he has infected, ladies and gentlemen, this is news, he has infected 80 female correctional officers. 80 with HIV. While he's locked up. He's actually impregnated 5 COs who's locked up, and they're all females, of course, and they all had a baby by him, and they all are raising his kids. Sneaking this man drugs in, sneaking this man phones in. He has basically started a Black Mafia family inside of jail all over again. He was getting people hit. He was getting people killed on the streets. Yeah, but you can go back to your stuff.
Just for what you just said, mm-hmm. is a lot of these men that are locked up. Mm-hmm. They can feed your egos. Mm-hmm. When you walk in there, man, they can make you feel like the best person in the whole wide world. They can really I call it masturbate your mind.
Right.
These niggas can tell you anything and they'll read you and tell you anything. And it's the same with these females.
Right.
I mean, if these dudes been locked up, these women walk in there and it's like, man, they go from being, they might be a 3 or a 4. They might go from a 3 or 4 to being a fucking 10.
Right.
Alright? That's a lot of the problem right there, man. These women, you know what I'm saying? You know, they love that attention.
Right, when you don't have that outside of the world, when you out and you walk in to work and clock in, they got buku men trying to holler at you. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, it just goes back to when you take that job, it's a lot that you have to understand and be aware of. And it's a lot of these guys are con artists, mm-hmm. okay? And they'll sweet talk you and make you feel like and I will say this, I've seen people like have bad days, mm-hmm. and go through things in their life. Mm-hmm. And these men will persuade or try to persuade you, mm-hmm. bring this in jail, man, you know. I'm I'm a real nigga. I'm 100%. You understand what I mean? Man, ain't nobody gonna know nothing about this, man. I got people on the outside, bro. You know, kick you some money. You know, man, just this one time, and it's all over with. Once you do that, you're fucked. Okay? They have got you. And there's no amount of money. There's no amount of money that you could get outside on the street that's worth you getting locked up, because it never ends. It never ends well.
Have anybody came to you with that proposal?
If you ever work in any facility, if you ever take a job in any facility, you will get bribed. You will get that question asked. Okay? You will get that question asked. The minute you go about and you acquiesce them, or you say, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm with that. You know, I'm going. That's it.
Right.
You're done.
Right.
You gotta make that. You gotta make that choice. You want to be. I don't want to be locked up with them. I don't want to ever. You know what I'm saying? That's the best scared straight that you could ever give me. You know, is working there, because you can see that. Okay, far as these women, it's their attention. You know, it's their attention is having that man that's right there. That maybe I could mold this nigga into something, or maybe I can make him the man that I want to be, and this and that. It's just that environment that just leads to that, and it's a lot. I've seen a lot of madness. You know, like I said, I'm not here to throw anybody under the bus, but I've seen a lot of madness at another facility where I worked at. I've seen this shit happen. You know, and when women start throwing pussy around, back of it in everything else, it's terrible. It's terrible.
There's not lying on that, because I think bribery is around the world, man. It's just universal. When I was working as a manager at Applebee's, I have women come bribe me for extra hours and give me some pussy. You know, I give you some head, or I clean your house up, or whatever, shit like that. You know, I'm like, nah, I'm good. And then the moment you tell them, yeah, they got you, because now you can't stop giving it to me, because the moment you stop, or the moment you stop doing what I want you to do, he got some pussy from me. Or when you got text, oh yeah, I got text too. He been texting me. And then you fuck. And I feel on that because my brother said, I don't know if somebody gonna see this that he's fucking with, but somebody, because y'all don't already know me, but my brother said a friend of his who was locked up got a guard in jail to do it, and he had him right then and there, and then he was only supposed to be for one time, and then he came back and got the guard to do it more and more, and then when the guard was like, I can't do this no more, they catching on to it, he wound up getting caught, the guard wound up getting caught, and now the guard is locked up where they are, like in the same facility, but in the same fucking jail. I think that's really crazy that a lot of people do this.
Once they get you, they get you. That is it. Once you do it the first time, that is it. There is no going back. I don't care how solid the man is. It's no going back. You know, it's no going back. As far as like the topic of sex, it works just like with females that are locked up too, man. These females, man, it's like, you know, you go from all that attention, and it's a lot of issues as far as like with social media. The women, they might get out, and you know, they might look for you, and hey, you know, I'm out now, hey, you know what I'm saying, or you know, a lot of the men will be like, okay, well, you know, okay, I see a woman that's you know, maybe she might be desperate, or she might be looking for money, or you know what I'm saying, wounded animal, you know what I'm saying, just you know, that wounded animal shit, you know, okay, yeah, she ain't working with much right now, she ain't got no other choice, you know, let me go fuck with her, you know, see what she can do, you know, it's a lot of, you know, it's a lot of temptations out there. It's a lot of just sins and temptations out there, man.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to our first break right quick. Our first break, and then we're going to be right back with another part of the show. Give me 1 second.
Hold on. Stuck in there, man.
Too talented.
Nothing but talent.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with the second part of the show. We're going to talk about a couple of issues before we get to the end of the show. And at that point, I let him go ahead and give his thanks on, about the show. This is his first experience on our show. Thank you to everybody who's joining in. We have 140 people that's joined in on YouTube. We have 110 people that's logged in on Anchor, and we have 110 people that's logged in on Facebook. So we got a total of 3-something who's watching that's been stable. So that's pretty good. And we're going to put this on all 5 of our phases of the platforms, YouTube, and so forth and so forth, once I edit and everything. Like I said, man, this might be a regular show between me and him. I wanted my wife to join, but she was sick, so I wanted her to join in on the topic because she has a lot of insight on stuff like this as well, and I want to educate her on what a lot of men go through being locked up. So I thought it would have been really good for her to come in and talk to us and be on the show, but maybe next time. Let's go ahead and get straight to him, and let's get into this topic about why some guards stand by and let the inmates fight. Have you saw that before? Have you had to do that before? Like, what's the deal? Why guards don't help out?
Well, me personally, I've seen my fair share of fights, but I've never been one to sit back and let them fight. Mm-hmm. You have to make an effort to control them somehow. I mean, if you are watching them fight, if you're purposely watching them fight, then you're not doing your job. Okay, I mean, I think sometimes from a safety standpoint, are you waiting for help to arrive? But under no circumstances have I ever sat back and just let two people fight. There's a lot of lawsuits. I mean, there's a lot of lawsuits that can come about if somebody get their face busted or somebody gets hurt. You have to make an effort to do your job. You have to have everybody's human. But at the end of the day, you're getting paid to maintain order, and you have to do it by any means. And you got to go in there and break that fight up. You got to get in between them guys, and you got to do it. You got to. It's unfortunate. And it's so much. There's so many facilities. And does anybody really know what's going on in the facilities? Right. I mean, it's just nobody knows. The inmates know. The CO knows. God knows. It's so much that goes on there that the public can't see. Okay? And ain't no TV show, no anything can replace when you walk in there and you smell that place and you're around this place. Okay? It's unfortunate that the fights. It's unfortunate, but myself, you gotta go in there and you gotta bust it up.
I have a question when it comes to that, because I was locked up in truancy in juvenile hall, and they had a guard who they had some guys that wanted to jump me because I was with this guy that we went in on, and they had a guard who she basically stopped the fight. The next day we walked in. We got out of our cell, and it was like, man, I was going to chow, and I was like, man, where's Miss Baker at? Miss Baker here? Because she used to bring me, she used to bring us cookies and stuff. I said, where Miss Baker at? Miss Baker got fired, the CO said. I'm like, huh? Said, yeah, Baker got fired. Baker gone. I was like, what? And I was like, what happened? And he was like, I can't tell y'all. I'm not supposed to be telling y'all, but when y'all had that fight the other day, she broke it up. I'm like, so she got fired from bringing up the fight? He was like, yeah, she's not supposed to put herself in harm's way if nobody's back there. But they were going to stab my friend. Like, they was going to stab him. And they had a homemade shank they made in there and everything. I'm like, man, what the fuck? Like, they wanted the kid to die? That's what you telling me? And then the ward never came in and said anything about it. He never apologized for the little kid. The little kid, they wound up shanking the little kid the next day. And I had to sit there and watch them shank him because I was in my cell, locked down when they did it. And I couldn't get out, and I couldn't help the little boy. And he was a little bit younger than me, a little bit smaller than me. And they killed the little boy, man. And the little boy was already serving. He wasn't even supposed to be on that pod. He was already serving juvenile life for a murder. And my understanding was he wasn't even supposed to be in that same facility with us. But he was there, and he killed another little boy. And he's still locked up to this day. That's been since I was like, 13? I'm 31. He's still locked up. He's been in and out of jail. When he got out of jail at 21, he was supposed to go back to jail and do a remaining time. And then by him killing the inmate, they said there was going to be more time. He got out. They gave him a chance. He got out, and then he's back in jail. He beat up his girlfriend and put her in a coma. So it's like, man, like a lot of these young men are. I talk about on my YouTube channel. I talk about the around my white friends. I used to work in Lafayette, Louisiana, and anybody who knows anything about Lafayette, there's a lot of white people out there. And I was working at Applebee's. I was a manager, and I had got the promotion. We were all, I'm gonna tell you for the first time too. We were all out there having drinks, and I got so embarrassed. They were talking about Black Wall Street. I was like, Black Wall Street? What the fuck is that? And they all looked at me. They're all white now. All of them white. I'm the only black person that worked there. They all looked at me. All the women and men. They all looked at me. The bartender stopped. The music and everything. It was like a moment. And they all looked back and they started laughing. The only black man in this fucking restaurant do not know about Black Wall Street. I'm like, what the fuck is Black Wall Street? What y'all laughing for? What the fuck? I wanted to fight. Like I was like, what the fuck y'all laughing for? I went home. I went to work. I opened the store. My manager was sitting there looking like. I walked in. And I said, he said, yeah, bro. He said we had to. I said that was, and I was pissed off that I found out what Black Wall Street was. Wow. And I was like, that's fucked up, bro. Like I'm the only black. Because nobody educated me about that in New Orleans. We didn't know. Like, we brain shit. We had a whole city that was straight for blacks. And they burnt our shit down, bro. And you have to educate yourself. That's why I educate myself on this. Because I didn't know about prison reform. I didn't know what was going on in jail. And then I started watching the show. And then I actually did my volunteer work at a jail in New Orleans. And I saw what was really going on in them. And I understand these COs have a hard time, bro. I used to be like, fuck, man, fuck the COs. They don't do nothing. They don't do their damn job, but they go through a lot, man. They got people threatening their families. If you don't bring this phone in here, I got somebody that's gonna kill your family, you know. Or they can find out where the guard live at, you know, and have somebody telling the guard like when the guard leave. They go through a lot, and for him to be sitting in here, man, as a CO, how long you been doing it?
Well, I've been doing this for almost 10 years.
10 years.
Almost 10 years.
Almost 10.
I've been in different places. Okay, so I've been through here and there. I'm not even counting the little stops in between. You know, I've been at this facility for a nice little piece. But you live, and you don't have to tell them where you live. Okay, they know your family. They know all of the aspects of your life. I have military experience. I was in the Navy. Okay, I was at one facility, and basically I had one of the punks came up to me and was like, "Oh my God, oh I heard you was a Navy man." Oh my, and I'm like, how the fuck? How the fuck you find that out? How the fuck did you find this shit out? And I only been there like a couple of days.
Right.
Like, well, word travels. We had ways of finding out what's going on with you, Mr. Navy man. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, these people like know everything. Wow. Everything about you, man. And you can be enjoying your time off. And, and you're gonna run into somebody that's in the store, man. And it's like, man, hey man. You know, and that goes back to how you do your job. Okay? If you do your job and you you do it the best of your abilities, then they can't say nothing bad about you. You know, I have not a lot of bad things people can say about me.
Right.
Because these guys know that I try to help them. But you walk a fine line between helping them and them using you.
Right.
And that's the line that you have to. That's the line that you have to walk. You got to know how to walk it, and you got to know how to talk it. You know what I mean?
When it comes to that, with what you say, they find out where you stay at. So recently, my brother, I didn't know what it was. He kept talking about a kitty. I was like, what the fuck is a kitty? I found out what the kitty is. A kitty is basically a sack where they put their snacks and their Zuzus or whatever the fuck they got. And you bet on football games or you bet on a basketball game. It's gambling. And they put it in that one sack and they give it to the pod boss or the cell boss. And that person holds all the stuff there. So anytime a loss or something happens, you're supposed to distribute to everybody in the cell or whatever. And my brother lost some stuff. And he was supposed to send the guy with my mom money. My mom would send my brother $100 every month. And he was supposed to give the guy some of his money from losing the football game, the bet. And my mom, my biological mom, has been on crack since I was a kid. She still is. She smoked all her money up. Didn't send it to him. And then that week, the dude called me, was like, yeah, your brother told me that you was going to pay the bet off. That your mom was going to pay the bet off, but your mom didn't do it. And I have a friend of mine who's knocking on your door. And I was like, huh? So yeah, I have a friend of mine that was knocking on your door, and he's going to be there in about 5 minutes. I'm still in New Orleans. I'm like, okay, who the fuck is this? Man, knock on the door. Yeah, man, you locked out your brother Sparker? You locked out my brother? Yeah, your brother said you were supposed to pay the bet off. I was like, nah, I don't got no money right now, bro. I don't get paid until tomorrow. Well, I'll be back tomorrow. Huh? I'm like, how the fuck this dude found out where I stay at? And I'm like, did my brother tell him? I get on the phone with my brother. I said, man, you told this nigga where I stay at? No. And the dude, my brother was like, ask the dude, like, how the fuck you found out where my brother stay at? Or we looked on his Facebook and saw y'all picture together. And we looked on his address and they said his address was on there. So niggas Google me.
Yeah, it's social media. It's anything, man. It's anything.
It's crazy because this shit is scary because, man, I was in the thanks that he came home. Good thing I was off, because if he would have came and I had the money and my wife was there by herself, she's so fucking feral or whatever, and she would have been like, I don't know, she would have defended herself. Trust me, she would have defended herself. But it would have I don't know, it would have been good. And that's just a small story, man. That these guards go through a lot, and they got a lot of flack, and I think that they do an awesome job in some places, but a lot of these guards are not trained properly. We're gonna speak on that as well. A CEO has asked you, have you experienced anyone getting shanked or stabbed on the job? And if so, how did you handle the issue, and what could y'all have to do better to solve it? Because we try to do shakedowns once a week, twice a week, maybe sometimes 3 times a week, and they wind up still having contraband in their cells. How many times y'all do shakedowns?
I mean, it's a periodic shakedown. You know, at least once or twice. Maybe even 3 or 4 times a week. You know, it all depends. I mean, you don't want to, you don't want to just, be predictable in what you do.
Right.
But that all goes back to the people that you hire, because everybody has to be on the same page. Okay, and you just said, well, we do the shakedown and we come back and they still getting the same things in there. Okay, and that's the biggest problem we have with the hiring process. Everybody has to be on the same. It's so hard to find. It's so hard to find a whole crew of people that's actually on the same. That's actually on the same wavelength, on the same page. Because you want to get a young person that's coming in there green and fresh. And I seen I seen that. You know, I seen niggas get, you know, with holes in their neck and leaking and stuff like that. I seen that more than what I care to see.
Right.
But the thing people's got to realize is that it's no way to jail-proof jail.
Right.
You know, incidents
are going to happen.
Are going to happen. I mean, man, incidents are going to happen. You know, we even with you know the things that you pass out, even when the things that they have. You know, I seen men, you know, make stuff with toilet paper. Okay, so even toilet paper rolls, things of that nature. You can't jail-proof jail.
Yeah, the guy who took the jail, the roll of this, and took it and did some type of shit, made some type of liquid or whatever with the gel products, the solution stuff, the bleach, and he put it in a pan. And this stuff has something in it. I don't know what it is. But when the guard walked by, he threw it in the guard's face. And fucked up the guard's whole face, man. He got a 3rd-degree burn. I don't know what it is in that. But something mixed with the ink in this and something else that he put. It messed the guard's face up. And those guards go through a lot of that, man.
It could be that magic shave. Magic shave is a weapon.
Yeah.
Pissing magic shave is the most vile thing that I've seen. Okay,
wow.
Pissing magic shave. Go through piss in the man's face, and the magic shave will burn the shit off your skin. So you go and you wipe the piss off, and you pulling the skin off. Wow. So I mean, it's a lot of vile shit that goes on. You have to do your job and trust that the person that's working with you. You better hope that he ain't had a bad time with his wife, or you know, he ain't lost all his money betting on the fucking games and don't give a fuck no more. And just, you know, it's a fine line.
We have. Is it any way we can deter men from going back to prison? Is there any ideas you would like to offer up to either your facility that you work in or the facility who watches this? Because she said she has basically started a suggestion box for inmates and for the COs for different things, and she has actually started, in where she's at, started young men getting in touch with lawyers to get out of jail. She has got people. She has got people in touch with GED programs while they locked up. She has 5 success stories of men who got out of jail and are out of jail and doing good. 2 of the men have their own business. 3 other men started working and have stable jobs. And she started seeing a number of people coming back to crease more and more since she's started this act. What can we do to stop these men from coming back? Because when you look at it, it looks like from the outside looking in that they have nothing to do but go back to jail. So I know it's a lot of things that goes with that, because a lot of people, like I watched this guy on 90 Days In season 3 say he was talking to the camera people, and it was like, how long you been here? He said, I've been here 2 years. He said, yeah, people say my family say this is my home away from home. He was okay with saying that, people. Like, he was really okay with saying that. And like what makes a man feel like, damn, I'd rather go to jail than be, you know, on the streets?
Well, I've seen men that basically, you know, jail is a place they come to rest.
Right.
Because there's nothing out there for them on the street.
Right.
Okay, I've seen men that were homeless, that really had nothing, and go to jail and eat and sleep and rest and get away from all that. You understand? It's so many. You know, we have to start with the younger, with the younger people. If we can save those people first, okay? Because I believe that, you know, child support that, I mean, we ain't, men ain't, child support is always a problem. You always have motherfuckers go to jail for that. People ain't gonna stop drinking and driving. We can't get a hold of that. The drugs. We can't get, but we can get a hold of these young kids. We can try to save them. Okay, so the young people don't become older people that's in there that really have nothing.
What type of actions can we place for young kids to refrain them from going to jail? Because she said she's listening to you in live at the same time. She said, I'm listening to you. She said, but I have three female friends who are single. And I really don't hang around a lot of females who are single. I'm married, and my mom always told me to hang around people who are like me. And I'm married, and me and my husband talk to our friends. And the friends that we have that's married don't even let their children talk about or listen to violent or watch violent stuff. But the three single women that I'm friends with, all have sons, and all of them are in trouble because they don't have a father around. And she said this goes back, Doc, to what you say about fathers not being in a household. It really, really is important. A woman can try to do everything she can to stop, but it's not like being a father. A father has that assertive sound and that assertive verse that makes show, and they let this child know that he means business. Mom can try to say no, but they'll still go over the head. So she said, is there any way that we can do as parents to stop our children from going and being in the system?
Is there any way you can stop them?
Is it any basically act they can do? Because like I said, chastising your kids today, it's basically like getting a case, because once you chastise your kid, like my sister, and I know she don't really beat her kids, my sister was whooping her kid because he said he called the little girl a bitch on the bus. Then he went back to school the next day, and he was on a bus, and the bus driver was driving, he was standing up, and he hit his head. And my little nephew was white, he's mixed, black and white. So black and white kids bruise up fast. He had a little bruise on his eye, and he went to school. The nurse asked him what happened. He said his mom whooped him, because that's what he remembered. His mom, my sister, has a case because they say she was physically abusing her child. But she was like, I whooped him because he called the female on the bus a bitch. And they didn't even care about that. They just cared that she whooped him. And he was like, the bus driver even said, yeah, that day he fell on the bus and hit his head. And they didn't take that into criticism at all. They basically still had her go through parenting classes. They had to come to our house, look at her house, make sure she had food. Like, what can a parent do? It's like the government wants them, basically, to be criminals. It's like the government want them to be a part of the system.
My thing is, where is our hero at? Mm-hmm. Okay, where's our black hero at? Okay, you understand? Where is that at? I see a lot of people running around here want to claim to be this and that. Who's gonna be there for these kids? Who's gonna teach them in school? Because first of all, I don't want to be controversial, but I don't give a fuck about George Washington. Okay, and I don't know what's being learned about history. Or where you come from, or where you're going. All right, who's gonna be that hero? Somebody got to step up and provide something for these kids, cause it's something.
You know what it is? You know what it is. What I think. I think the heroes are a black mother to them. Think about this factor. And when I tell people this, they be like, yeah, you're right about that. Think about this factor. A black kid hero is a rapper, football player, basketball player, athlete. They are not inspired to be anything. My best friend is a white guy. His favorite thing to be growing up and what he wanted to be was a doctor because his dad was a doctor. His mom was a lawyer. he came from money. He walked around like I was cocky, but he never showed that to people. He always came, respected my neighborhood. He never shit on my neighborhood. He had $1 million house. But he never really talked like that to me. He never really talked around it to none of the people. He didn't shit down on people. I think it has a lot to do with the families that you come from and the people that you come from. When you see these football players get these big ass contracts, and the first thing they do is have what on stage? Mama. Dad could have been in a life that it was so bad that RG3, he and his dad didn't even go on stage. His dad stood backstage. His dad is the reason why he is the football player that he was. But his mom got all that credit. His mom got all that credit. The first thing he said when he got his contract, RG3 said, the first thing I'm going to do is buy my mom a house. Not buy my parents a house. That's the first thing that these black athletes do. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's because they look at black mamas as God in the black community. They have any fathers in the household, so the fathers are not in the household to teach them what a man's supposed to be. And I think the hero is lost, man. A lot of people don't. A lot of these kids don't even know about the King. And I can't say, being that Martin Luther King, they think their hero is Lil Wayne and Jay-Z.
Right. Man, it's got to be more. It's got to be more to that than just, okay, well, then you know what? I'm gonna build these kids a little playground, a little this and that, man. It's got to be more than just that, man. I see all of these chemical plants and all of this stuff being built, man, and you know, it's just like, man, don't y'all care?
Right. It's like that too, but I used to always put down on these rappers from Chicago because I got a friend of mine who works at a radio station and she works at the news station in Chicago, and I got news stories for that tomorrow. Man, I got an explosive fucking story for you guys. On New Year's Day, they had some people shooting up in the air like they always do, some niggas shooting up in the air, and a bullet came down and shot a 4-year-old and killed that 4-year-old on content. That is a fucked up story that I'm talking to you guys about tomorrow that happened in Chicago. And the person has not been found yet. But it happens like that, and because these kids, I used to always get down on Chicago rappers. I used to say, man, Chicago has some of the best rappers who come from Chicago. Why Kanye West, he's from Chicago, don't go back home? Why I used to get down, I'm not an Obama fan. So anybody who know me, y'all know I'm not an Obama fan. I used to say when these killings was happening, why are you not saying nothing to the Obama? Like, why you don't go back and talk to these fucking kids in your neighborhood, Obama? Like, you from Chicago, right? And I understand why they don't go back. I understand it. But they still don't make it right. Some of these rappers in the city of Louisiana, they left from Louisiana. They made their money out here. And not in Atlanta, not in LA, and not in all these other places. They can come back down to New Orleans to take care of their shit too. But you know what happens when they do that, ladies and gentlemen? They wind up getting killed. A rapper from New Orleans come back to New Orleans, and he was murdered a year ago. In the same city he was born and raised in. He was actually helping somebody that night at Waffle House, brought them some food. Come out of Waffle House, somebody shot him and killed him. So it's like, you can't even come back to your hometown anymore. People was mad at Master P that he got the fuck. But I respect that he got the fuck now. Because you can't do it down here. Like, you can't do it in Louisiana. You have to go. What's your last thoughts on that?
Oh, man. You know, you can't blame a person for making their money and you know, improving themselves. But that just goes back to just our whole topic for the day. You walk a fine line between, you know, being real and
right,
you know, being out there. Rappers is the same way. I mean, you know, you walk a fine line. You're not gonna make everybody happy, but as long as you're doing for your family, and Master P's doing, it seemed to me like he's doing for his family, he's doing for So hey, you walk in a fine line, but basically to just wrap up everything, man, we just gotta save these kids. Gotta save these kids. That's where somehow, some way, there's gotta be a way to save these kids, because that's our future, and the future is looking hard right now. I don't want to get old. I'm afraid to get old, because I don't know what's gonna be left. So
I heard that. And I wanted to touch on one more topic before we go. The deal with Donald Trump. Trump has basically been in the news for several weeks now. A lot of people have slept on it. And like I say, man, when Trump does stuff like this, it's basically a way to shine a light off of him. He killed an Iranian president, and now the Iranians are wanting to go to war with us. So it's going to be World War III. All over again. And he said he's upping the draft, because before you had to be 21 to get in. He said he's upping the age of draft to 40.
Wow.
So, I said, if you're going to do that, maybe you should let your 2 sons go. Maybe you should let your 2 daughters go. One of them that's drunk in the streets, always on Instagram, throwing parties. You should let her go as well, right? You want these young black males and young Mexicans and young black and brown kids to go fight your war that you went to go do for Trump. Maybe you should let them fight. Maybe you should let your children fight. And it's crazy that he's trying to even pass the law, because the law is, if you are the only child, you can't go to war. He's trying to get that law abolished.
Wow.
So that's the president. I voted for the nigga, and I voted for him because I didn't like Hillary. I would never vote for Hillary. I don't give a fuck if a donkey was running. I would vote for the donkey. I don't like Hillary. But yeah, and he did not do what I expected him to do, and yeah, that's who we got from this president, and it's very sad. What do you feel about that? Like, do you feel like that's okay for him to up the draft to 40? And if he asks you to go, would you go, or would you take your time?
I just want to say this. I mean, when Obama became president, I thought, it was for all of these young folks, and for me, for my grandmother, for all of these young, old, everybody, black, white. It was supposed to be. It's never going to change. It was supposed to be a symbol of hope, and a message to say, well, you know what, I can do anything. Anything is possible. Hell, the Saints won the Super Bowl, in that time span. Nobody ever thought that was going to happen. So,
right.
I for damn sure was like, man, anything can actually happen. Okay, but I feel like this current president is just, he's reckless, and the youth are reckless, and it's like the whole world is a hateful world. And that's the problem. That's the problem.
Right.
Nobody has respect for each other. It's just like, to hell with the consequences. I'm on forward with all of this. It's far as this draft, and I've been in the military. I volunteered myself, and it's a real thing. It's a real thing, and I just pray that maybe, that God intervenes in this, and just, give somebody some love somewhere.
Right.
Because the draft is, if he institutes that, it's going to be a lot of people that's not going to want to go, and it's going to be a lot of crying. And, I've seen people that were actually, that I actually served with, actually cry and complain that we have to go out there. Because I've been in the Middle East, I've been in that water. I'm a Navy guy. I've been in that water, and actually had people cry and say, "Oh, I didn't join. I just only joined for college money." Well, it's real. You know what I mean? the world is real, and the whole shit is real. So, you know, we got to start taking care of each other. And that starts with at home, with our families, with the people that we love. Because it's getting real out there. And, you know, I'm not supporting none of this hate. So, that's about all I can tell you on that one, man.
That's going to be the end of our show, man. I really enjoy you, and I do this to everybody that I meet. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. My dad was in the Army, my biological father. He died when I was 2 years old, but I had his flag and I had everything. My dad was in the Army.
Yeah.
I love people who serve, man. It's something special to do, and it's a privilege to serve, but it's actually a lot of things that happens with that, because I want to talk to them about that on the next show that we have, when these men come home from the war with PSD and they don't really be taken care of by the government. I have a friend of mine who's homeless in New Orleans, and he came home from the war. He's a veteran, and his leg got blown off, and he started panhandling. And what made me put his story on TV, or made me get out and talk to him, I had my camera, I had to get out and talk to him. A guy, he asked the guy for some money at the light, and the guy took a cup of piss and threw it in his face. Told him, hold on, I'm going to give you $1. I said, okay. He opened up a window, threw the piss in his face, and I had to stop. I had to turn back around. And if anybody know what Esplanade Mall at, you can't just turn around, you gotta go that whole lap. And I had to go all the way back around and come back to stop there and get the guy, put him in my car, dripping with piss, put him in my car, brought him to we had a YMCA at the time, brought him to the YMCA, got him a shower, put him some money in his pocket, told him, man, go get your hotel room for the night. The next day I picked him up, we talked, we rapped, and I put his story on the TV, and he was like, man, I came home with PTSD from the war, and, I had my leg blown off. I started doing cocaine because nothing really helped with the pain. And now from the VA don't even want to give him health care from that. And he was like, man, a lot of these homeless men are veterans. And we have a big problem in the United States of America, especially in Louisiana. We don't take care of our veterans. People don't even grow up to them. And it used to be a thank you for your service. They don't even do that. We don't even honor letting them eat for free anymore or half price. Like, that's crazy. I had to turn down on Veterans Day. Veterans, when they come in my restaurant, I can't feed you for free. I can't feed you and it's your day. I can't feed you for free. That's a very fucked up. Why would you want to go to war? Why would you even want to sign up for it? When you get, you know what I'm saying? That's for the next. That's gonna be for the next show. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you everybody who joined the show, who stood here all day. We that podcast, and we'll see you when we see you. Alright. So, you got an idea of it, what it was, but now I'm gonna show you